Hi, welcome back to the Spring Data JPA tutorial. In this video, we are going to discuss about the JPA finder methods or the query methods. We are going to discuss how to create the finder methods or the query methods by field names. Let's begin. So the JPA finder methods are the most powerful methods which will help us to query to the database without even writing a single SQL query. That's awesome. So we can create a finder methods on the entity field names. So in our typical Java application, we have a entity, the JPA entity, which has mapped to the database table and it contains the field names. So we can create the finder methods on the field names. To create the finder methods, we need to follow certain naming convention. So in order to create the finder methods on the field names, we have to follow a certain naming convention which has documented by the Spring Data JPA team. All JPA finder methods starts with find by followed by the field name. So find by, which is in a camel case, followed by the field name. So we need to follow this naming convention to create the finder method or the query method. So let's understand with an example. So assume that we have an employee entity which has two fields, name and location. We need to query to the database to retrieve the list of employees which has a name, Bhushan, or some other name, or we need to retrieve the list of employees which are from the location India or from any other location. So we can easily retrieve those employees with the help of query methods or the finder methods. We can use find by, which is the naming convention we have to follow to create the finder methods, find by followed by the field name. In this case, name is the field. So find by name, and we need to pass the employee name as a parameter. So for the location, we're going to define a query method which is find by the field name. In this case, it's location, all in camel case, and this is going to receive the location as a parameter. So behind the scenes, the JPA will create and execute the query like this: select star from employee where name is equal to Bhushan. This is for the first query method. The second query method, select star from employee where location is equal to India. So behind the scenes, the JPA will create and execute this query method. So this is how we will define the query methods or the finder methods, and the JPA will create and execute the query behind the scenes for us. Alright, let's jump into the STS and create a Spring application and define the finder methods and see how it will work. Alright, I'm inside the STS. I have already created the Spring Boot project, find by field name. So if you expand this, we have the controller and the entity and the repository. So let's open the entity class, and I have created the entity name as a laptop, and which is mapped to the table tbl_laptops, and we have added the underscore data annotation. So before that, let me show the pom.xml so that you will get an idea how many or what are the dependencies I have added. So I have added the Spring Boot starter Data JPA to use the Data JPA Hibernate, and I have added the Spring Boot starter web, and I have added the dev tools for the live reloading. I have added the MySQL connector for the database, and I have added the Lombok for the Java library. So now inside the entity class, I have added the @data annotation. This will create the setters, getters, equals, and toString method, and @entity, which is a mandatory annotation to represent this class is a JPA entity, and I have provided the table information with the @table annotation. This is an optional annotation, and I have created 5 fields: ID, name, description, brand, and price. And I have annotated the ID with the @ID annotation and @generated value generation type, which is identity. So now let's open the MySQL database, and I have already created the database MyDB and the table, which is tbl_laptops, and I have added the few sample data. So in case if you want this sample data, which is available on my website bhushansirgur.in, and if you open the Spring Data JPA finder methods by field name with example post, I'll drop a link in the description section of this video in case if you want to copy the sample data. So here it is, you can copy this sample data. Moving on, so inside I have also created an interface, the laptop repository, and we have also created the controller. I have annotated this with the @rest controller. Okay, so let's open the resources and application properties. So I have defined the data source. So I have specified the database name, which is MyDB, and the username for the database, password for the database. Let's open the repository and let's create the finder methods. So we have already discussed that the finder methods or the query methods starts with find by. So find by, all in camel case, followed by the field name. So the field name, if I open the laptop.java or entity class, the field name is name. So we want to find the laptops by field name. So this is the field name, which is name. So let's use this, followed by name, and this will take the laptop name as a parameter. So this will return list of laptops. Let's import this. So next we are going to find the list of laptops by price. So list of laptop, find by, and if I go to the entity, the price, which is our field name. So let's use with a camel case price, and this is a big decimal, and which is price. So let's import the big decimal. Next we're going to retrieve the list of laptops by brand name. So list of laptop, find by brand, which is our field name. So brand, and this is going to receive the brand name as a parameter. Alright, so we have defined all the query methods or the finder methods. So now let's move on to the controller. And first I'm going to auto wire the repository. So laptop repository, I'm going to call this L repo auto wired. So if you want to know more about the auto wired annotation, I'll drop a link in the description section of this video. Make sure to check out that video. I have created a separate video on the auto wired annotation. So let's create a handler method, public. This is going to return the response entity of list of laptop, get laptops by name, so let's specify the get mapping annotation slash laptops slash name. I would like to receive the laptop name with the help of request param. We can also use path variable, but I would like to use the request param. So @request param string name. Let's import the request param and the list as well. So inside this, I'm going to return new response entity, this will return the list of laptops. So let's make use of the repository L repo dot find by name, and we're going to pass the name. Let's pass the HTTP status 200, which is okay. Alright, so now let's save this. Let's actually run the application. Let's open the main class and start the application. Let me expand this so that we can see the console messages. Alright, the application is started. Let's open the Postman. Which is running on the port localhost :8080 / laptops / name, and name is equal to Dell Inspiron. Okay, so let's click on this send. We do get a single record. Let's actually verify with the database records. Okay, let me execute this query. And we do have a name with Dell Inspiron. We have only one name and we are getting the response as a single record, which means it is working. So let's actually change this to a different name. So let's try for HP. Okay, the HP, it contains only one record in the database entries. Let's change this to HP and click on this send. We should get the HP as a response. You can see it is as simple as that. So we can define the query methods and it will work like magic. Alright, so now let's create a few other handler methods. Let's open the Spring Tool Suite and let's go to the laptop controller. I'll quickly copy this and paste it. Let me actually create some white space. Okay, I'm going to paste it one more time and let's change this to brand and change this to price. Laptops by brand, laptops by price. Request param, this is actually not name, this is actually brand. Let's pass the brand and let's change the query method to find by brand. Let's change this to big decimal, change this to price and change the query method to find by price. Let's import the big decimal. Alright, so now we have a three handler methods, which is laptops / name / laptops / brand / laptops / price. So let's test all these query methods. So let's save this. So let me open the database. Right now the brand, we have a 2 Dell and we have a 2 Apple. So let's try for Apple. Let's open the Postman and change this to brand and brand is equal to Apple. When I click on this send, we do get 2 records, MacBook Air and MacBook Pro. Awesome. So let's try for Dell. You can see Dell Inspiron and Dell XPS. The brand name is Dell, the Dell. Okay, let's try for price. Let's change this to price. So let's open the database. Okay, let's check for the price. Okay, we do have a 2 price, the 2 records having the same price, 50,000 and 50,000, which is HP and Lenovo. Let's try for 50,000 price, which is 50,000. We can also provide the decimal as well. So click on this send. We do get the 2 records which is having the same price, 50,000 and 50,000, the HP and Lenovo. So HP and Lenovo. Awesome. So this is how we can create a finder methods or the query methods without even writing any single SQL query. And behind the scenes, the JPA will create the SQL query for us and it will execute the SQL query. That's all about this video. I will see you in the next video.